Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, or welcome to our channel if you're new here. My name is Newt. I co-run this channel with my best friend Mushi. We are polymer clay artists amongst other things, but in today's video I'm going to stick with the polymer clay part and I'm going to show you how to make this adorable, cute, fall festive, spooky season, perfect for October little ghost keycap. This keycap is one of my original designs, it's one of my favorites, it's one of my best sellers in my Etsy shop Corner Creatures. So if you want to learn how to make this little keycap, this cute little guy, then just keep watching. Just a quick note, you do not have to make this keycap exactly how I make it. If you want to switch out the little ghost for like a Grim Reaper, or if you're more advanced, I guess, Grim Reaper might be kind of hard. But you don't have to make this keycap exactly the way that I do. You can mix and match your own colors if you want to, but I will leave a list of the exact brands and colors that I used down below. And if you do recreate this little ghost keycap and it's adorable beyond belief, which I'm sure it will be, then just tag me in it at Corner Creatures on Instagram. But I would love to see your recreations of this little guy because he is so super cute and fun to make and so cute and spooky. First, we're going to start off with the basic tools that you need for your keycap. If you have some of these tools or none of these tools, you can always improvise with whatever you do have. Starting off, you need something to roll it out, preferably see-through that you can use. One of these works wonderfully, but you can use literally whatever you have on hand. Next up, a scalpel blade. This is really great to have if you're wanting to do any type of polymer clay work. I use this blade for literally everything that I make with polymer clay. It's really versatile and it helps a lot with many different things, so I definitely recommend one of these. Then you're gonna need one of these like pokey, sticky, dotty tool things. This is another really versatile tool. I really like the metal one, but you can get like wooden ones, or you can even use a toothpick if you want to. You don't have to have this specific one, but this is my personal favorite. And then this is an actual dotting tool. A lot of people use these in nail art, but they're becoming really useful to use in polymer clay as well, and they're really versatile. We're going to be using this is the tiniest little dotting tool head I've ever seen in my entire life, so we're going to be using this one. But again, you could probably just use a toothpick, or if you have one of these, you can use the top of this. Just as like a general FYI, these three tools can do so much with polymer clay if you're just getting started. If you just got like these three tools, you would be able to do a lot of stuff. These plus maybe like one of these silicone head ones, super versatile. If you can get a dotting tool that's like half a dotting tool, half a silicone head, then you're all set. One other thing that you're going to need is one of these little hole punchy guys. This is for the fall leaves. You can cut out the leaves if you want to. This just makes it a little bit easier, but you want to make sure that you can see straight through it. That's really important. And when you get these, you can get them on Amazon in a pack of all kinds of different sizes, but I use the gray one, as you can see here, and I'll link it down below if you do want to buy it. But all you're going to do is take your pliers and you're just going to kind of mess up the hole until it's kind of like leaf shaped. I have one that I've done already, but I have no idea where it went, so I'll just make another one for purposes of this video, kind of like that. So you can see like the tip there is just like a little messed up and mangled now. You just want it to look something akin to like a little messed up leaf, a little crinkly fall leaf. Optional, not necessary. You can get one of these acrylic blocks to help hold on to some of the clay. When you're working on different small things, it's really helpful to have one of these. Again, optional, but highly recommend. This is the Sculpting Bacon Bond glue. I've been using this glue for every single piece of polymer clay that I've ever made. I always use this glue at some point while making it, and I've been doing polymer clay for over 2 years, and you can see I've only used this much, so this is like a super great investment. I want to say it's less than $15 to get one of these, but it will last you so long if you're just making like little polymer clay items. This is another optional tool, but these pliers, these really help if you're planning on making a lot of keycaps. These help with ergonomics and fatigue in your hands. As you can see, you can just hold on to the keycap like that. It works super well. If you're going to get a pair of these, I highly recommend that you get a pair that is not spring-loaded. The spring-loaded ones might not feel like they are, but they are causing a lot of fatigue on your hands. And just from working with polymer clay for hours and hours and hours and doing keycaps, I can tell you these are like a game changer. The ones that are not spring-loaded work so well, and they've definitely saved my hands. Like, I don't get cramps anymore in my hands. It's like amazing. Like, I'm barely holding on to it, and like I can hit this and stuff and it's not going anywhere. So, and then finally, you're going to obviously need a keycap if you're going to be making keycaps. And this specific keycap is the the pudding translucent keycaps. I call them like pudding jelly translucent keycaps because this part down here obviously is translucent. I like to use translucent for my top facing keycaps, the ones that just have obviously something just on the top part of it. So these are my preferred ones for any top facing keycaps. It's also just easier to work with them in general, but just make sure that they have this like cross shaped shaft because most keyboards take this kind of keycap. And also be careful with the size. I'll link these down below where I got them on Amazon, but I usually use like the numbers or the F keys for all of my keycaps that I sell. But just be careful because depending, like this one for example, you can see like there's quite a difference in like the keycap size and how it looks. So just be careful when you're picking them. I prefer the ones that are tall and they slant forward just a little bit versus these which are like short and they slant back. So it is kind of like a waste unless you could just buy all the F keys or all the number keys, because I think it's like 20 bucks for a box of keycaps, but you know, it is what it is. Finally, for tools, Q-tips, I recommend the pointy ones. You can get these on Amazon. Again, I can link them down below, and then these are just regular ones, and you use these to clean your keycap with rubbing alcohol, which I keep in this thing back here. And then for clay, I'll link down below the specific clay that I used if you want like to make it exactly how mine looks, but I'm just going to show you the colors. So first off, this is translucent clay, and then for the fall leaves, you're going to need an orange, a yellow, like a cadmium yellow, and then a dark maroon red color. And then for the base, the grass, I just use like this dark forest green color. And then finally, just a little bit of black for the eyeballs. So the first thing you're going to want to do, which I already did just for longevity's sake in the video, is condition all your clay. And you're going to want to work from lightest to darkest and then wash your hands. And wash your hands prior to conditioning the clay, because if you don't wash them, you get lots of dust and debris and gross stuff in your fingers, even if they look clean. So just wash them really good and then work lightest to darkest when you're conditioning. Condition each piece of clay for about like 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how the clay is. The FIMO clay almost always is like crumbly and obnoxious, but that's just the way that it is. It's just a harder clay, but it's really, really great once it gets conditioned. So condition all your clay first, and then go wash your hands, and then come back. Okay, so your hands should be washed by now. Your clay should all be conditioned. So now we're going to get into actually making the keycap. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your little keycap, whichever one you decide to use. And what I like to do first is just put a little bit of glue, like just a smidge, like that much, and then just like rub it on the top of the keycap, just to make sure that it's going to, your first layer is going to stay on the keycap. Technically in the oven it does bond to the keycap because this is plastic, polymer clay is plastic, but you just want to make sure that it's not going to be popping off at any point, you know? So, okay, now keeping on with the same idea of working from lightest to dark, you're going to start off with your ghost first. I'm just reconditioning it just a little tiny bit since it's been sitting for a couple minutes, so I just want to make sure. Conditioning your clay really helps with cracking in the oven, because it can happen. I've never had that happen with a keycap, but it definitely can happen with like figurines and things that are a little bit thicker if you don't condition them enough. So do yourself a favor and make sure it's nice and conditioned. You just want it to be like squishy. Okay, so now once it's conditioned and it's feeling pretty great, now we are going to make our little ghost shape. And usually I have like just a reference of sorts just for the size wise, just to make sure I don't go too big or too small. To do that, you're just going to roll it into like a little ball, kind of like that, and you're just going to roll it out so it's kind of like a cone shape. And don't worry about the bottom too much right now. You just want it to look kind of coney. A cone head, if you will. Kind of like that. And then you're going to take your scalpel tool and you're just going to kind of figure out the size you want and cut off the bottom. Cut off his butt. So now he's going to be obviously just like a smidge squished. So just kind of roll him back out to where you want him to be. If you still don't like the size, you can always go back and do it again because it's really easy and we're not going to be too stressed out about that. He's about the same size as this little guy, and that's about how I want him. And then you can take him really quick before you move on. Lightly take some alcohol on a Q-tip and just get rid of some of the dust, because there's going to be dust, like I promise you. And especially with translucent clay, it's kind of important to get rid of the dust as much as possible because it's semi-translucent, so the dust shows up really, really well after baking. The most obnoxious part of making polymer clay is literally the dust. Like, that's it. It's the dust. All right, that's good enough for the second. You just want them to look like a little cone shape, kind of like this. So now that we've got our little ghosty made, now we're going to move on to the grass. So you already have your keycap, which has a little bit of glue on it. And you're going to go in with this clay, your green clay. Make sure it is nice and conditioned. And then take this and just roll it on top, just lightly. You do want to keep this just a smidge on the thicker side. And you can do this with your fingers too. So kind of like that thick. So then what you're going to do is take your keycap and just place it. Oops, hopefully I made this big enough. Place it directly on top like that. Just press it down a little bit. And then you're just going to slice off the sides. Make sure it doesn't slip. So you should have something like this. It looks a little wonky, but that's okay because we're going to be adding texture to it. You can just even it out a little bit, but don't go too crazy on this part, like, because literally it's going to be fine. So you're going to want it to look something like this. Okay, so you've got your grass. Then we're going to go in and make the grass texture. And I just use my long pointy tool for this, and very lightly you go in and just make the little grassy textury shapes. You can go like any which way for this. Go to the left, go to the right, do whatever you want to do here. You just want to create an illusion that it looks a little bit like grass. Be careful you don't push too hard when you're making the grass texture so that it doesn't come away from the edges of the keycap too much. Now we're going to move into the leaves. So we're going to roll out each of these leaves, and you can do them all at once if you want, and just put these next to each other. Take your little roller, and these you do want it to be a little bit thinner than the grass, but again, like, it doesn't need to be perfect by any means at all. I didn't turn the camera on for this whole segment. Basically all you're gonna do is take your little hole punchy guy that you got shaped into like a weird little leaf shape, and you just punch him onto your clay. You take your pointy tool and you just punch them out. This part's definitely the most tedious, so maybe it's best that I didn't actually film the whole process. But like I said, just punch them into the clay and punch it out. They can be stubborn sometimes. And you can use whatever color clay you want to use for the fall leaves. Like if you want to use brown, you can use brown, but I live in Vermont and these are typically the colors that we see during fall time. So yeah, so you're just going to get about 10 to 15 different fall leaf cutouts using these two tools. Okay, now that we have our fall leaves all cut out, we're going to place them in a orderly fashion just along the edge of our keycap. So starting with orange, and you can start with whatever you'd like to start with. I'm just going to put orange in the front and then alternate between orange, yellow, and red until we get back to the beginning. And again, like, don't be too concerned about perfection with this one. I am a perfectionist, and this is one that you can definitely kind of freestyle a little bit if you want to. It's a pretty forgiving keycap, especially if you're just getting into doing keycaps. Probably the hardest part to do is the ghost itself because, just with trying to make it look uniform and whatever, it can be a little irritating and getting the eyes on there, but it'll be fine. It'll all be fine. And hopefully by the time that you get back around to the first leaf, they're even. So we should be able to put one more row in here. It's gonna be a squish. And one more red right there. Ah, perfect. Okay, so it should look something like this, kind of like a little wreath. So then what you're going to do is just press these down. Make sure they're on there good. Make sure your edges look good all the way around. So your ghost most likely is not going to fill up all of this part in here. So just to make sure that you can't see any of the grass peeking through, just add some of your extra if you got any, and just fill in some of the holes there. You can fill in the entire bottom if you want to. This is just being extra sure that you're not going to see any green, because the idea is that he's on a pile of leaves. So obviously you're not really going to see the ground under a pile of leaves if you're doing it right. All right, that's pretty good. And just take a sec to look at your leaves. Make sure you don't want to change any of them or anything like that, and that you like what you see. And I think I do. All right, so now comes the fun part. So we're going to get rid of all of this stuff. So now that you've been working with the leaves and stuff, go wash your freaking hands or use like a rubbing alcohol wipe or something just to make sure that you get any of that extra residue off of your fingers. So put your keycap down for a sec and pick up your little ghosty guy. Hopefully you can get him. What I usually do is just stick him on my finger and press him down, and hopefully you can get him to stick on your finger. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't, depending like how warm I am and whatever. But you want him to like be able to stick on your finger like this. So what we're going to do now is make his drapery. And by drapery, I mean like the folds in his ghostly outfit that makes him a ghost and makes him all cute and precious. Create that with this, our pokey tool. So to make the drapery, again, make sure you've got him down on something. And we're just going to take our pokey tool, press down, press in and down. And by doing this, you're going to help it to make the bottom kind of flail out, kind of like a ghostly outfit would, right? And you're going to go around basically just the perimeter and do some main ones, and then you're going to go in and do some littler ones and kind of get an idea where you're going to want his eyes to be. Hopefully you can see them all right. You can see all like the little divots and stuff towards the bottom, his little drapings. It's like at this point he starts looking like a ghost, and I'm like, oh my god. He is so stinking cute. How cute is he? And he doesn't even have his eyeballs in yet. So then, with your ghost still stuck on your finger, take your keycap. This is optional, but I just always do it. Take some glue and just dab just a smidge in the middle. Just to make sure that he's going to stay in place. We know he will because he's such a good little keycap. So you've got your glue there, and now it's time to place this little guy. And yes, you place him on here before you do the eyes. Just pick him up and tap him down once you have him in a place where you want him to be. And if you need to move him, try to just use like a Q-tip or something as much as possible over your finger. You can also go in with a Q-tip and just fix your edges a little bit. Alright, so now he's looking pretty good, pretty fly. He's symmetrical on there. We like the side look. We like the back look. We like the other side. We like the front again. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Now we can move on to the eyes. So you're going to want to take your black clay, just like a little tiny bit. The eyes are so super small. I'll try to show it on here. You're just going to roll it out with your finger. You're just going to want the tiniest little bit of this. In the eyes, you just have to gauge, but you're going to want like that. You see those two little dots? I think that's about what you're going to want. So we got the front of our ghost. Make sure you're working with the front. That's really important. So now we're just going to place the eyes. So you get your little dotting tool, and you're just going to want to do two little holes. Not holes, but two little divots where you think the eyes should go. And I go like about here. And here. You can do wherever you want, but this is typically where I place them. Just like that. And this is always like a gamble. I never know if they're going to fit right. But I just take the little tiny piece of clay that you can't see and just roll it into my fingers just a little tiny bit. And I like to do like kind of oval shapes. Oops, just lost it. I like to do kind of an oval shape like that. And then press it in. Okay, so you've got your eyes on. Now you're going to take your pody tool. You're going to take your podunk tool. You're going to take your pokey tool, and you're just going to position them how you want them to look. And like I said, well, I don't remember if I said this, but I like mine to be a little bit woeful looking, I guess is the best way to describe that. That went surprisingly well. All right, so here he is, the little ghost keycap. He is all finished and ready to be baked. When he bakes, he's going to look a little more jelly than he does now after he bakes and cools off. So what you're going to want to do if you used multiple different kinds of clay is you're just going to want to take the clay with the lowest temperature setting recommendation to bake at. Take the lowest setting and then bake it for the most amount of time. So for this one, since we want to be extra careful of this FIMO translucent clay, we're going to bake him at 230 degrees, and bake him for 30 minutes. And you want to be really careful about this. The translucent clay does burn more easily. So we're going to pop this guy in the oven, and then after he bakes and cools off, we're going to put resin on him and he will be ready to go. Just a quick note, if you were paying close attention in this video, you'll notice that the ghost from the previous clip is a little bit different than the ghost from this clip, and that is because the ghost that I had made for this video was an Etsy order, and I actually packaged him up and sent him out before I thought to get footage of the finished product. So sorry about that. This ghost is still super cute, still same idea. I still followed all the same steps to get this little ghost. His shape is just a little bit different. Alright, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching if you made it till the end. I so would love to see your little ghost keycap recreations if you made one. Definitely, like I said in the beginning of the video, just tag me down below at Corner Creatures. That's my personal Instagram. And if you're interested in purchasing any of my keycaps, you can check out my Etsy shop, which is Corner Creatures, which I'll also have linked down below. Everything will be linked down below. So again, thank you so much for watching. We so appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and we will see you in our next video. Bye!